TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Friday, October the 31st, 10:15 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. We're going to do a live portfolio update. Made some moves this morning, and it's Halloween, so I'm feeling kind of phallic. So you got the microphone right next to your mouth, looking real, like a dick in your mouth, right? I don't understand why these content creators do this stuff. So they're sitting here like this the whole time. But anyway, I've heard that the audio is better when the microphone is closer to your mouth. I guess that makes sense, right? If you think about it. Anyway, it's going to be a fun episode, guys. I'm in my pajamas still, and the day hasn't even gotten started for me. So we're going to have a little fun. This is live and uncut with TJ, the Wheel of Deal. There might be some F-bombs this morning. Just, put your little earmuffs on. And I'm feeling some kind of way. I've been wanting to do this episode for a while because I deal with a lot of trolls on X. I deal with a lot of trolls on YouTube. So after I do the portfolio update, we're gonna go through my X feed and I'm gonna troll the fucking trolls. You know what I mean? So you never argue with the person that has the microphone. Have you ever been to a comedy show? You don't ever want to sit in the front row and then argue with the person that has the microphone because they're going to roast you. So I got the microphone today. So you guys are going to get roasted. And the first person I'm going to come at on X is Captain Crunch, right? My little nephew. He's not really my nephew, but he calls me Unc. And we'll control the fuck out of this guy. This dude is the absolute worst option seller I see on X. He just sold a shitload of contracts. He just sold a shitload of contracts on Robinhood, and he didn't get enough money to take my wife for dinner. He got like $400 or $500 for putting his whole lot up for sale. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna take him through my YouTube little archives or whatever, and I'm gonna show him the seminar that this dude needs to watch. Because God, I never seen anybody that bad. So anyway, when we get to that segment, guys, life's tough. You're gonna have to wear a helmet, right? Like Candace Owens says. So we're gonna come over here because the punches are gonna come flying. So you better put on a fucking helmet, okay? I got my helmet here because I was charging my Bluetooth. So I thought it'd be funny. Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I got my jacket here because as soon as I get in the shower, I'm gonna go on a bike ride. I gotta go run some errands, and I like to run errands on the motorcycle because traffic doesn't exist when you have a motorcycle, right? It's like traffic optional, rush hour optional because there's shoulders, there's in between cars. I used to ride the bike in California. You can share the lane. Here in Texas, you can't legally, but I do it. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, guys. And this is all in good fun. It's all in good spirit. It's a spooktacular, right? I think it might even be Halloween or whatever. So anyway, let's get into this thing. Let me figure out how to share this stupid thing. I mean, I'm not good with technology. So, and if you guys see a little pause, it's because I got the TV going and I make sure that I'm sharing the right stuff because I'm not like a Mitt where this dude's just so fucking nerdy and he knows how to do all this shit. He's like a freaking walking CNBC. I struggle with this technology. What I know how to do is I know how to sell options and I know how to make a lot of money. That's my deal. Mitt actually had to spend like 10 minutes one day trying to walk me through the technology. He's like, bro, you're going to have to learn the technology if you want to do this thing. So I'm still struggling. Anyway, so we're utilizing the website on Tasty Trade. Why are we doing that? It's because it's just a lot more user-friendly. It is a lot more user-friendly. So let me make sure I'm going on the right account. We're going to start off with the DGen account. My son's account now, they're going to have nicknames for these accounts. This is the DGen account. There's literally one position here, and it's just all BM&R. So we got 1,000 shares. 1,000 shares of BM&R owned at $49.93. This fucking turd's trading at $47.30. So we're down, 26 collectively, 2,600 collectively, up 2,200 on the day. And then I've got the shares for sale at $60. So 21 days from now, these shares are for sale at 60. I'm like 60, at 1,000, 1,000 shares, that would be 60 grand. So that'd be really nice for the portfolio. And then I've also got an agreement to buy more shares, and this would actually be bought on margin because there's not enough money to buy these shares right now. So it would either have to take ownership of these shares on margin, or I would have to deposit more funds. Either one of those is acceptable. So we got an agreement to buy 500 more shares at 44 bucks. So I'm like, if you fucking love it at 50, because the average is 49.93, you should be loving it at 44. You should be putting a ring on her finger at 34, right? So that's kind of the mindset whenever I get into a stock. Is I always assume that this shit's just going to go down. It almost feels like personal. Like the stock gods don't like me because I don't go to church or whatever. I don't pray for the stock gods, so they're like angry at me. So I always think, man, if I'm going to take ownership of shares, surely they're going to go down. My conviction, my investment thesis, everything is going to get tested right away. Like that is like literally my mindset when I buy some shares. I'm like, dude, you want shares to go down? Like if you're worried about some covered calls and I ain't in the position, just send me a text, send me a DM and be like, hey, TJ the Wheel Deal, can you buy a few shares of this stock? That way it could go down. That way my covered calls are under pressure. I'm your guy. I'm like the cooler. I'm like the cooler. Like y'all fuckers that are all in pound here, y'all better hope that I don't buy some fucking shares. The minute I buy these shares, this thing's going to tank to like 180. I'm sorry. That's just the way it seems to work for me. That's why I play the range game, right? I just collect all that premium. So anywho, that's what's going on with this particular position. That's the DGen portfolio. We were up at over $100,000. Then I had to pull 60 because freaking Uncle Sam just can't get enough of my damn money because they want to, give food stamps to people from different countries and stuff. And so they're always, asking for more money. So we had to pull money out of his account, and now we're, going to build it back up. So that's what's going on there. Now let me get on to the other one. I hear the dogs in the background. I feel like my wife's going to come in here and drop the dogs off and have me babysit. Here we go. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Love you, baby. Anyway, so now I'm dog sitting, guys. What's going on, Gavin? You want to say hi? We're trolling on YouTube. What's going on, Gavin? Come over here, Duke. The Duke of Wall Street. Come over here, buddy. Come over here, Papa Short Dan. There's Duke. He don't want to see you guys. He's in the background. I don't know if y'all can see it. Anyway, he's over there somewhere. It's on the bottom. So we got a multi-poo, and then over here we got G-Money, Gavin, our Cavapoo, and there are pride and joy. The house would be really, really quiet without these guys. So anyway, so here we go. So this is what we got going on with the portfolio. We make sure I got it on days to expiration. There we go. Awesome. Come on, buddy. Go over here. All right, let's get into this thing. So, where do we start? Let's look at BM&R. Let's see what this turd's up to today. So we got the 40,000 shares at 56.58. Why do I got them at 56.58 and it's trading at 47? Because I suck. I can't buy shares at a discount, right? I'm like, I always overpay for shit. So I realized right away that it was real hard to pick a bottom. It was real hard for me to pick a bottom. So I was like, well, let me sell cash secured puts. That way I can get like a little bit of money to buy them at a discount to today's prices. And that's kind of how I got really excited about selling cash secured puts early on in my journey here, is because buying shares and then hoping that they go up, that strategy wasn't really working too well for me, because I had a real hard time understanding when would be the ideal time to buy a stock, and then it's just going to miraculously go up right away. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to manufacture the win. And that's how that terminology started. And that's going to be the name of the book, right? TJ the Wheel Deal, Manufacturing the Win. I'm about 75% done with this thing now. So I'm going to start a book series with the members. And I'm going to go chapter by chapter by chapter. And you guys are going to help me finish this damn thing off. And we can send it to publishing. And I'm going to start out with 1,000 copies. I'm going to go through a painstaking process of handwriting my signature and a small note for everyone, for all the members and people that have been following me. And then once we get through with that, I'll figure out how many more I want to get printed and put them for sale. So anyway, there's that. So what's going on with BM&R? There's 40,000 shares. We're getting our ass kicked on the shares. We got those shares for sale at 62 for next Friday. We collected about $36,000 or $7,200 of meat on the bone. I'm not going to give that $7,200 back because it just feels like I'm better at spending it than somebody else. So I'm just kind of hoping that BM&R pumps. That way I can put these shares up for sale again and bring in, another, $100,000 or so. That would be really, really nice. We'll see what happens, right? And then I've got leaps. We've got 600 leaps. This is an agreement. This is the right to buy 60,000 shares of BM&R at $75, 441 days from now. So it's trading at 47. So let's just talk about the logic behind this trade. It's trading at 47 currently. So the logical thing is, why in the hell would you agree to buy them at 75 down the road when you can buy them at $47 right now? Good question. Glad you asked. The reason is because I'm extremely bullish on BM&R. I believe that it's going to be trading at like 150 to 200. So $75 is going to feel kind of like a bargain. So whenever you buy a leap or you buy options for that matter, you got to pay premium for these options, right? So the 1911, the negative 1911 that you see right there, that's the premium that was paid. So you have to add that number to the strike price. So it would be 75, so it'd be 85, 95, so 94, roughly. $94, that becomes your break even. So you don't really start making any money. Like, let's just say you fast forward the clock, 441 days. If BM&R isn't above not just your strike price, but above your strike price plus the premiums that you paid above your break-even price, you're not actually making any money there. So what's the strategy here? The strategy with this particular trade is really simple. I want BM&R to pump to $75. I'd like for that to happen by the end of the year. In a perfect world, if I could take my crystal ball, let's pretend the helmet's a crystal ball, and I can rub the crystal ball like Cleo, like Madam Cleo. Hold on one second. My son's messaging me. Okay. My son lost his wallet, so I had to order him a couple credit cards. So anyway, if I could rub the crystal ball and, like subpoena all the gods, summons all the gods, right? It'd be like, yeah, I need this thing to be at $75 by the end of the year. What I would like to do, because I won't obviously be in these covered calls, so this contract's irrelevant. I would like to sell those 40,000 shares at 75. Frees up a lot of capital. I can go sell puts and strangles elsewhere. And then I want to ride these up to the promised land. And whenever BM&R gets above like 60, then I can run the poor man cover call campaign against these leaps, and I could bring some more premiums through the door. So just running the poor man cover call campaign is just more capital efficient. It does require a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more know-how, a little bit more management. So again, I didn't start messing around with poor man cover calls until I really felt comfortable selling puts and calls and rolling when I made dollars and cents. I did that for like 3 years full time. And then after that, I started experimenting with the leaps and the poor man cover calls, swing trading. I've been doing that for years. So that's kind of been the evolution for me as a wheeler, an investor who sells options around his preferred stocks. MicroStrategy. This is kind of a position where I've like been pitting these two against each other, because when I got into BM&R, shortly thereafter, I started strangling strategy. I guess it's called strategy now. I still call it MicroStrategy, but MSTR. And I was like, I feel like there's more of a clear path to get to $1 million just by strangling MSTR than BM&R, but I won't have the opportunity to make like $5 million with this one unless I was able to successfully strangle this stock for like the next 12 to 18 months, something like that, right? So BM&R there's a faster path to get there, but it also may never happen. Over here with MSTR, if I'm playing this range game over here, I feel like that's a mathematical certainty that it can happen as long as I stay wide. I don't get too crazy. I don't get too stupid with it. I feel like I could legitimately manufacture $1 million, maybe even 1.5 million over the next 12 to 18 months. So again, this is not a trade for me. This is a campaign. Anytime that you see these tickers up here, a lot of people look at these expiration dates. It's like you're driving and you're like seeing stop sign to stop sign. That's not what I do. I look at what does the road look like, 5, 10, 20 miles into the horizon, even 100 miles into the horizon? You're going on a road trip. You have to plan it out, right? When are you going to stop to stretch your legs? 'Cause I'm usually like, I like to do road trips on the motorcycle. So I plan out like, when am I going to fuel up? And when am I going to fuel my body? When am I going to rest? Where's going to be a place where I can like lounge out a little bit? Because, I've driven from Texas to California a couple times on my bike. And, whenever I was younger, and it's hard to do because it's real tough on your body. So you have to like plan ahead for all the situations, like inclement weather, all those things. And whenever you're driving like on I-10 from San Antonio to El Paso, you run through these stretches where there's not like a gas station every 5 or 10 miles. So you have to like plan accordingly. If not, you're gonna be stuck like Chuck, right? So whenever I look at these particular positions, I'm thinking, what's this trade gonna look like in a year? And I try to like visualize that and try to figure, kind of model, well, how much premium do you think I can capture along the way? That's whenever I go live and I say, hey, I think I'm going to make $1.5 million with this particular position. People are like, well, how are you going to do that? You're up 285,000 and there's only $480,000 of extrinsic value. That doesn't add up. TJ the Wheel doesn't know how to do math. I was like, because you're looking at the stop sign to stop sign trade. That's start date to expiration date. That's stop sign to stop sign. I'm not looking at that. I'm visualizing way into the distance, if that makes sense. So this one here is a sweet spot trade. Why did I say a sweet spot? Because your sweet spot is between the two strikes, right? So 220 and 400 in between those. So 220 and 01, $220.01, all the way up to $399.99. That is your sweet spot. You'll notice that the contracts don't match up. Why? Good question. Glad you asked. Is because I don't think there's a lot of risk to the upside. So I'm like, where's the free money in the contracts? It's like, you ever look at the spread when you're betting on a game and there's the spread and then there's like the over and under. One of those is like free money. It's like getting your mind. It's like, well, that one's easy. And there's the other part of the bet that's hard. So you're trying to do like a parlay. You have to win both of them. So it's like you got to hit it just right. It's real tough because one of the answers to the test is very obvious to you, while the other's not. So I feel like the $400 naked calls, that's the free money in this particular trade. And because I'm so far out of the money, because the delta is so low, it's just a hell of a lot easier to navigate these waters if they go from calm to rough really quickly. Or I could just give the money back, take the trade off the table, and you eliminate the unlimited risk to the upside. I feel like the bigger risk is to the downside. That's why I trimmed the contracts. I was at 800 this morning. I trimmed it to 600 because I wanted to lock in a win, because MicroStrategy shot up today, right? It got its ass kicked yesterday and probably the day before and the day before. So I was like, let me lock in a little bit of money here. Let me take some risk off the table and I'll add more contracts on the free money side, if you will. So this is the contested side and this is the uncontested side, or I call it the free money side. So this is the hard money side and this is the free money side. That's the way that I look at these trades. So I got 600 and 1,000. So the idea is to stick this trade out for at least another week, increase the profit and loss open. And then I want to roll these contracts out. I'll probably take some out, but I'm going to take some off. But then I'm going to roll these to the 49-day cycle and match it all up. I'll roll the 220 to 225, and I'll probably keep the calls, the short calls at 400. If I feel like Bitcoin's taking a positive turn, maybe the sentiment, hey guys, Gavin, maybe the sentiment has changed a little bit on MicroStrategy. Maybe all of a sudden people start liking Michael Saylor again, whatever the case may be. Then I might consider increasing the strike price to like 420, possibly even 450, because I don't want to deal with it. I'm trying to make most of my money on the short puts over here. And I'm just sprinkling in whatever money I can on the short calls. As I get closer to expiration, I feel like the writing's on the walls. Then the idea is I'm going to roll the $400 down to like 380, 360, 350, 340, whatever I feel comfortable with. And I'll squeeze the rest of the juice out of the lemon there. But I don't want to have that trade on the whole time. I want to put that part on the trade, because right now I feel like the trade's not even on, if that makes sense. Like when I get like jiggy with the trade, when I get serious with the trade, is that I get closer to expiration and I'm like, okay, let me go grab the rest. Let me squeeze the rest of the juice out of the lemon. So that's kind of the way that I manage those particular trades. Let's go on to our easy money play. That's SoFi. Y'all already saw this thing. We were at negative 200,000 a little over 90 days ago. Now we're at 1.4 for the year. How I strangled the shit out of this stock, and I squeezed a lot of premium out of this particular stock. But I closed everything out a couple of days ago. But then I rolled. I went from 28 strike to 25. I went from 5,000 contracts to 3,000 contracts. I could reduce the notional value, you know, just the exposure to SoFi. And I was like, the earnings were amazing. Triple beat, you know, with the guidance raise, the whole thing, right? The rates are lowering, all that stuff. It's just all peaches and cream right now for SoFi. Upgrades across the board, the whole thing. Everything's working in our favor. But SoFi still came down from like 31 and some change all the way to like 28, I think, at one point, something like that. So I just thought that it was prudent to take contracts off the table and go from 28 to 27. And we've got 3,000 of those contracts now. So the idea is, in a perfect world, SoFi goes sideways for a couple of weeks and I capture a lot of that $297,000. And then I kick the can down the road again, maybe even lower it to 27, bring in another couple $100,000 in premiums. And then I hope and I play for a pump. I play for SoFi to go up in value, maybe to like 32, 33. And then I can bring on the short calls back into the mix, but maybe I only start out with like 1,000 contracts. So in other words, this is like a seesaw. And I feel like that the problem could potentially happen to the upside because there's a lot of tailwinds for SoFi right now. So I was like, I don't really want to go get that money over there because it doesn't feel like the free money. That's the hard money in my mind, right? So you got the free money and you got the hard money. Or you got the easy money and you got the hard money. So I feel like right here, this is the easy money. So this is where I want to play. This is where I want to play. I don't need to always have the hard money on the books, if that makes sense. There's one takeaway that you guys can take for the last 15 minutes that I've been on or so is go after the easy money. You don't always have to go after the hard money. You know what I mean? You don't have to. Like, don't make life hard. It's already hard. You don't have to make it harder is what I'm saying. So I'm going after the easy money. So if I pumps to 32, something like that, then I'll go after some of that hard money. But then I'm also getting paid to take on that risk, because if I want to go put a short call on it like 36, they're not going to pay me a lot of money for that right now. But if it pumps to 32, then now I can put it at like 37, 38. And now they're paying me some good money, because it's like you're going with the current and you're going to put like a hard stop right there while the current's flowing for you. You know, going towards you, you should get paid to take on that risk, if you will. So anyway, that's what's going on in phase. This is a position that I put on not too long ago, 3 days ago. And this isn't really an easy money play. This is comfortable. The earnings were awesome. The guidance sucked. And there was one major red flag within phase is they paused the buyback program. I'm like, dude, you're over here buying shares north of 50. You still had $268 million that was earmarked for the buybacks, and you halted that. So that really gave me cause to pause. So I'm like, let me put a feeler bid out there. Because I think it's going to be tough sledding for this company, at least through the end of the year, possibly the first quarter of next year. So I'm like, let me just put a feeler bid out there, see if I can grab some of this premium. And then I will roll down to like 27, 28 and take assignment of the first lot of shares down there. So I'm utilizing the 25, 25, 50 strategy. What is that? Is you earmark 25% of the amount of capital that you like to deploy to a stock, and then you just let it play out. And if it hits your price target to own that portion of the shares that you're willing to own, you do it. So I'm bluffing at 30. I don't want to own it at 30. I want to own it more like 29 or 28. And then I would like to take ownership of another 25%. in that $25 range. And then I would deploy the big capital at 20 bucks. Like, why would I want to spend all the money now and catch a falling knife? Because we don't know where the floor is going to be on in phase, right? We don't know. There's a lot of European, in Europe, they're just like a shitload of inventory in the warehouses. So they're not going to be ordering any of these microinverters or anything from Enphase right now because they already over ordered. And then we already know how Trump feels about solar, right? He doesn't even believe in global warming. So, I mean, this thing's got a lot of headwinds right now, is what I'm saying. It's going to benefit a little bit from the rate cuts, but not that much, in my opinion. And again, what gave me cause to pause is I feel like management tipped their hand by pausing the buybacks. Because I'm like, why wouldn't you be excited to buy the shares at these levels? But for whatever reasons, they didn't feel compelled to prop up the share price. So I'm like, well, if you don't want to buy your fucking shares, why should I want to at these levels, right? So that just kind of, again, that's why SoFi has been the absolute easiest play for me, because I feel like Noto tipped his hand right away by buying a bunch of shares. And he's like, hey, I know what we're sitting on. I know our stock is undervalued. I know where we're going. I'm going to buy a bunch of shares. Come with me, right? He couldn't say like all those things to us, but he kept tipping his hand by saying, I'm going to buy, documenting that he bought all of these shares and whatnot. And it was just up to us to believe in him and go with him on this incredible ride that we're all on now. Well, Enphase was kind of doing that too. They were buying back their shares and now they're not. So that gave me cause to pause. Amazon, this was a little bit of a pain in the ass trade for me. I had them at 210 and 250 going into earnings yesterday. I was considering adjusting the trade yesterday and going 230 and 260 yesterday. I didn't do it. That backfired on me big time. So I had to make those adjustments today. So I added more puts. That way, again, I could balance out the kids on the seesaw. So I had to put, there was a bunch of fat kids at the 250, and there wasn't the kids at the 210. They couldn't balance it out. So the seesaw was like this, right? So I had to balance it out by selling more puts at 230. And then I rolled from 250 to 260. We kept the same expiration date. So here we are. We're down 93,000 year to date. There's $644,000 of meat on the bone. So it's all said and done. If Amazon can stay in this sweet spot for us, which is what, 230 and 260, we would capture the rest of this premium. Palantir put these trades on yesterday, and I'm already having to adjust them, right? So I started out with 100 contracts at 140 and 260. Super wide. I'm like, I just want to put the trade on just to have it on, kind of like a feeler bet. Like when people go and they buy one share, just kind of like monitor it. So that's literally what this was. I was like, let me just go sell 100 strangles, go super wide, 140, 160, bring some money through the door. I didn't like the way the seesaw was looking this morning. So I was like, let me go balance the seesaw. I sold more puts at 140, and then I rolled those up to 150. And now I've achieved delta neutral. And I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable because I feel like 260 is the free money, the easy money. And I think that 150 could potentially be the hard money. Anything cracks whatsoever on this earnings report, I feel like 150 would get tested a lot quicker than 260 can get tested. I feel like there's nothing that Palantir can do or announce or say to warrant the $260 strike price. That being said, I felt that way when Palantir was at 60. So take that with a grain of salt, right? This thing's a fucking unicorn. But I have learned how to make money with Palantir without having to own shares, right? The profit and loss year to date speaks for itself. $436,000, and I haven't owned one fucking share of Palantir, and I don't intend to. This is just a cash grab. I'm playing the range game with Palantir, and the goal over the next 12 months is to make $100,000 per month. So I like to make $1.2 million. So I am practicing. I'm practicing for 2026, right? So I'm positioned. That's why I sold it 77 days. That 77 days, or it was actually 78 days. But that's why I sold it into the distance, because I want to run a campaign with Palantir that makes about $100,000 a month, and that's how we're playing it. NVIDIA just did this one today. 175 and 250, 100 and 100, weighing heavier on the puts versus the calls as far as deltas go. And I feel pretty good about it, guys. I feel pretty good about it. $88,000 in extrinsic value there, and it's the same type of campaign as Palantir. Is I think there's $100,000 bill that I can grab month after month after month, playing it extremely wide. Hood's another one that I brought back into the fold yesterday. I didn't like the way that it was looking. I was at 195 or 95 and 195. And that wasn't working. So I sold more contracts at the 95. I rolled them up to the 110. Now we're sitting at 150 puts at 110 and 100 calls at 195. Pretty delta neutral. How do you know it's delta neutral? Just look at the extrinsic value. You got 61 versus 60. That's like another way to look at it. Obviously, you could just go look at the deltas and all that stuff as well. But whenever I'm on this side of the platform, that's how I can tell which one weighs more, what side weighs more, and these are pretty evenly weighted. Google in the distance, guys, 250 and 300. I feel like I finally hit the sweet spot there. We got our ass kicked so far. I was actually thankful to be losing money on this trade because it lowers our tax implications, but we're down $1.5 million on Google. There's 1.75 million. So as long as it can cruise there, we'll flip it, right? We'll flip it. So we're able to log the loss on for this year, which is great. But next year, we would be logging the win. So it is what it is. Apple, same type of deal, getting our ass kicked on it. Haven't been able to find the sweet spot here. Not wide enough either. So if I'm looking out in the distance, I need to get to about 100 wide on Google, and I need to get to about 100 wide on Apple. So how's that going to happen? Just stay with the campaign. In a year or so, I'll be able to get to 100 wide. Hopefully, this extrinsic value is like 2-3 million, whatever it is. And down the road, I manufacture the win. We call it good. Riot, I closed out this particular position today, moved the position over to another portfolio, and we're sitting on 100,000 shares of Riot in another portfolio. No cover calls against it. So we're going to ride those 100,000 shares to the promised land. Riot is just turning into a banger for us. I mean, it's just been an absolute godsend. I could not be more happy with their performance. I feel like they are legitimately going to make the transition by staying a Bitcoin miner, but transitioning over to the data centers as well. The plans for what they got going on over there are really, really exciting. I got to listen to most of the conference call last night, and I'm going to go through it again today at 1.5 speed. And I'll reach out to Jason. Hopefully we can get him back on the channel. So that is all of it, guys. So now we're going to have a little bit of fun. Let me get over here to this side of the house. And let me go through some of these comments. And then we'll go have the fun part of the episode where I go on X and kind of like tell you all what I feel whenever I see some of these tweets or whatever. So what's going on? Uptrend. What's going on? Elvis. What's going on? Muted. Congrats, my guy. Appreciate you, Jerry M. What's going on? Open wide. He's probably talking about the microphone. What's going on, Mike D? What's going on, Shamu? What's going on, Chris? SoFi price prediction by the end of the year. 35. I feel real solid at 35. I think it'll let me just give it to y'all, right? How I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to get to 35 sometime December, January. And then it's going to have to maintain that level for 3 months. And then sometime between January and March, I think it's going to creep all the way up to 45. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to maintain it till June, but it has to hold that level for 3 months so that Noto can qualify for that next tranche, right? Excuse me 1 second. Baby doll? My wife wants me to go to a restaurant. She knows damn well I don't like the food there, but I guess we'll go to the restaurant for my wife and I'll have to eat a Whataburger later if I'm even hungry. Anyway, so F the trolls. I'm just messing with you. I'm not going to try to curse too much because it didn't feel good for your soul, to be honest with you. Troll the trolls. Hey, TJ, what's going on? 9th like. Awesome. What's going on, Rich? What's going on, Jabroni Brains? Yeah, Captain Crunch is so annoying. He's cool, man. It's all in good fun. I don't take Twitter that seriously, guys. Where's Bill in the G? I have not talked to Bill. I should call Bill. I should call Bill. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's like a fucking genie in the bottle. There he is. What's going on, Bill? Man, one of my favorite people I've met from YouTube. Not in person yet. We will one day, but he's just the absolute stand-up guy. What's going on, Manish? Choo choo. Hey TJ, how do you choose a strike? And there's a lot of factors, guys. There's a lot of factors into choosing a strike. But you got to keep in mind, like I'm selling puts and calls on stocks that I've been in, for over 4 years in some cases, right? I was in the DPO on Palantir, been in for a while on Hood. SoFi, I've been rocking with it for a while. So you just get comfortable. You just get comfortable with certain levels. You understand a little bit about the companies. You understand, how valuations work and that kind of stuff. So I use my fundamentals, my fundamental knowledge of the underlying to decide what's the price that I would like to pay for the stock, just utilizing the buy, hold, and hope mentality. And then I go to the technicals and I go find the 50-day, the 200-day. I slap a Bollinger Band on there. If I'm selling a put, you want to be on the lower end of the Bollinger Band. If you're selling a call, you want to be on the high end of the Bollinger Band, because that's using the 20-day moving average, one standard deviation. So that's just kind of like real generic vanilla stuff. Whenever it's cooperating and it's like kind of like hanging out right on the 200-day, that 200 days serves as a really nice support or resistance. So if I'm selling a cash secured put, I would like to be under that 200-day. If I'm selling a covered call, I'd like to be above the 200-day if the strike price is below the 200-day, because it's going to have a lot of resistance there. If the stock is hovering above the 200-day and there's decent premiums selling the cash secured put below the 200-day, that 200-day is going to act as a lot of support, right? So if the stock's here, that's your resistance. If the stock's up here, that's your support. So that's a real basic way of doing it. Another thing that I do is I just look at the options chain. You look at the open interest, the volume, and you got to go where the players play, right? You can't be the only person at the dance floor. So I'm looking for a lot of liquidity as well. Where do you find the most liquidity? The third Friday of the month, because the weekly and the monthly options expire at the same time. And that's where there's a lot of people going to that's the Saturday night party, right? If you will. So that's kind of the way that I look at I look to do it. Love this guy from food stamps to the wheel deal. What's going on, my man? And dog sitting, I'm telling you. Hey, Bill, hope you're all good. Great to catch you on the live. Dogs are the best. I've been keeping track of the channel. Pun intended. Oh, snap. He's back. Happy Friday. What's going on, Mr. Premium? The option. One of the original wheelers on this channel. He said something that really, really I took to heart on our very first wheelers. And he said, remember, at the end of the day, we're all the CEOs of our portfolios. So, guys, if your portfolio is doing well and you pushed all the buttons, it's your fault. Congratulations. If the portfolio is not doing well and you pushed all the buttons, it's your fault. So you're going to take all the credit. You got to take all the blame, right? That's the game that we're in. If BNR, what, Grog? Stop listening to me, you nosy bitch. Okay, what do we got here? If BM&R will go to 200, why not just pull out all your money and out $47, nearly $5? Because it's just it would be retarded to do so. It would just be absolutely retarded to do so, because I don't know that for a fact, right? Like, that's my belief, that's my investment thesis. But I can't just like, we're gonna stop. We're closing the hamburger stand and we're going all in on this menu item, and there's not going to be any cash flow. There's not going to be anything coming in, because I'm going to let this investment thesis play out. I'm going to go learn how to play golf. I just can't do that. I mean, it's just absolutely irresponsible. So I have to earmark a percentage of the portfolio that I could live with being dead money for a while, because whenever you go so heavy in a position like I have on BM&R and you buy the leaps as well on top of the shares, there's a lot of dead money sitting there that could potentially be making you easier money elsewhere. like MSTR, in my opinion, is just easier money than BM&R based on the way that I chose to play it. So I hope that answers your question, Nathan. Georgia, what's going on? John Law, what's going on? Rocky, TJ, why are you selling the call side in a bull market? I'm not trolling, legitimately looking for your perspective on this. Real good question. It's valuation, right? Like I look at where I sold the calls. Look at where I sold the call. Palantir. You think it's going to 260 January? I just don't think so. So I'm like, I'll go sell the fucking naked call over there because that's free money. And if it starts encroaching, right? If it starts putting pressure on the call, well, it's not like I can't roll it. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, Palantir is going to slow down. I mean, what do we think it's going to $400 a share right now? Like, has anybody looked at the fucking valuation on Palantir recently, or valuations don't matter anymore? Let me go look at a valuation on Palantir. It's just, I'm just talking about market cap. So I'm doing something in the background, so bear with me. So let's go look at Palantir. Where's she at? Palantir. Here we go. Got it. So Palantir has a market cap right now, according to intraday on Yahoo Finance, at $473 billion. 473 billion, guys. $473 billion. $473 billion. $473 billion for a fucking company that does like $1.25 billion in revenue, right? It's going to go to 700 billion market cap. Why? Just because Alex Karp and Jensen are fucking chummy? Like, come on, come the fuck on. That's why I'll sell cover. If you are talking about going all in on some shit, if I could go all in selling naked calls on Palantir at 260 for January, I could like legit learn how to golf, maybe shave 5 strokes off my game. Because that when you have to look at that trade, I feel like it's legit free money. If for whatever reasons it gets contested, okay, big deal. Roll it out to like 280, 300. At some point, you're just going to get away with it. We're not talking about Palantir at 100 right now. We're talking about when Palantir is at 200. It's fucking $500 billion company just about. I mean, it's just at some point, valuations have to matter. If not, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in the stock market. You felt that way about Palantir at 12. I think Palantir has been overvalued. Not really at 12 so much. I think it's been overvalued like big time at like 20. Because I remember buying a bunch of shares down there. But nonetheless, guys, again, it's like I posted on X yesterday, and we'll get to it. Palantir and Robinhood are like fast women. They're not marriage material for me, but they're a good time. So you keep going back. You know what I mean? Real spicy. You know, the nookie they give you is pretty good. So, so you date them on the side, right? But they're not marriage material. Again, I'm not condoning this kind of stuff in your personal life. This is the way I look at the stock market. It's like some stocks I feel like I can get married to because I understand them. They're more reliable, like SoFi. It's more reliable. Like I feel like I know what it's going to do. But Palantir is a unicorn, right? It's like a fucking alien. It's a once in a lifetime type of stock, and it's exciting. But I'm also excited that I figured out how to make money with it still without having to own it, because I wasn't comfortable owning the shares at 90. That's why I got rid of them. I was like, I'm not comfortable here because I don't want to be the fucking idiot that owned it at 90 and it went back down to 40, right? Well, it turned out that it went up to 200. So I was like, shit, I'd have made like another $1.5 million if I'd have just held those shares. Well, since then, I made almost $500,000 strangling it. So I'm like, well, let me strangle it some more and go make another $500,000 and then another $500,000. And then at some point, whether she's hanging out at 200, 220, 180, whatever it is, if I figured out a way to make $100,000 a month with Palantir, at some point I will surpass what I would have made had I just held on to the shares. The only difference is I have a bunch of realized gains along the way. So that's not as tax efficient as just holding the shares, but I don't have to ride the roller coaster. So those are these. Again, we're all the CEOs of our portfolio. So we have to decide how we want to run our hamburger stand. And that's just how I chose to run my hamburger stand when the valuation makes absolutely no sense to me. I definitely just not comfortable owning shares, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to learn how to make money off the stock still. So, but yeah, I mean, Bill has been with me from day one, or not day one, but early on in the Palantir journey, and it's tough. And this is even for somebody like him that knows how to value companies at a much higher level. I've talked to him on the phone, and he's like, I can't even understand the valuation anymore. So it is what it is, right? But still a menu item in the hamburger stand. I'm happy that it's on the hamburger, that it's on the menu. I'm happy that people are still lining up, paying for these overpriced burgers. And I feel like I can make $100,000 a month with Palantir. I don't think I'd make $100,000 a month that I still own the shares. The portfolio would look better, right? So I think that at some point I'm going to catch it. We'll see. It's still early in the game. In 3 to 5 years, we'll do the math, right? Because we can all pull up when I owned all those shares on Palantir and what that would be worth versus how it all plays out over the next 3 to 5 years. I'm still in it. We'll see. The same thing with SoFi, right? I owned 150,000 shares. I knew that I was going to trim them to 100. So I'm like, dude, $10, it's $1,000,000. So SoFi goes from 50 to 25. That's a million that we would have made. So luckily I figured out how to do that. So now I'm like, when it goes from 25 to 35, that'd have been another million. So it's like I got to go hustle for the muscle and go get all that premium. If not, I would have been better off owning the shares. But again, the difference is now I figured out how to make $1,000,000 a quarter with SoFi if I'm willing to go that heavy, which I'm not. Right now, the goal with SoFi is $500,000 a quarter. So I'm like, well, I do $500,000 a quarter. That's $2,000,000 a year. At 100,000 shares, you're basically needing SoFi to go up $20 a year. I don't think that it's going to do $20 a year. It might for a year or two. After that, I think it's going to chill out. So that's kind of the idea there. Appreciate you, Bill, Brett, Mark. Hey, what's going on, Stephanie? My wife was asking about you, and I think she said something. We're going to Houston or some shit. I don't know. I saw some emails from south to west. I think she might have booked flights to Houston and hotels. I'm not sure. I got to ask her. ATJ, first time seeing you in months. Are you planning to do public streams regularly? No, absolutely not. Not until I finish the book, guys, because this shit takes a lot of focus out. I just wanted to have fun because we're going to go on next and we're going to have fun a little bit right now. Did the last drop? No, because I'm too heavy on other stocks right now. So Meta is just y'all think I played the Palantir one wrong. Holy shit, dude. Had like 3,000 shares or something like that. I got to go back and roll the tape because I don't remember. But it was at least 2,500 shares of Meta, and I had bought them at like a little over 100. So do the math there, right? It really, really sucked. That's the one. Meta's the one that taught me. Where is it? Here, we're here. Meta is the one that taught me that if you're going to sell covered calls in a bull market, it would behoove you to own some leaps as well. That way you paid for your participation trophy to the upside in advance. So that's what stocks teach you, right? So when you're selling puts and calls and you have one that really gets away and it stings because on paper you left a shitload of money there, even though you made money, it's like the money that you could have made, right? It still stings, right? They call it opportunity cost. I feel like Meta and Palantir taught me that. Meta and Palantir legit taught me that, hey, I think it's superior strategy to just selling puts and calls. If you're like absolutely convinced that the stock's going to go up, is maybe buy some leaps. And that's the reason that I made so much money on SoFi is because at one point I had like 3,000 leaps on SoFi as well. And those printed a lot faster than the shares, right? Because when the stock goes up really, really quickly, boom, you look up, you're up 200, 300, 400% on your freaking leaps. And that is just, that's something that I learned. So I'm grateful, right? It's like when you lose, you learn. If you're not learning, then what's the point of losing, right? So anyway, I feel like I've just learned so much over the years, and I want to keep sharing my journey with you guys. Michael Anthony, DJT bought 2.3 million back when Bitcoin under 100 or 100K. That with Bitcoin up today and going higher, that DJ millions Bitcoin and Trump bought 52% higher. That shares bargain. DJT wasn't even around. Yeah, I think he might be saying 100,000. How far do you go when you sell puts? 30 to 45 days is usually typical. But guys, it really just depends on what the portfolio can handle or what it needs, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can go back to this side of the house. It's about, here we go. Is it trading? There's got to be a more efficient way to do this tabs, guys. Sorry about that. It's about the expiration dates, guys. That's why I always have it on days to expiration. So it's about the expiration dates. So it's like we have the BM&R, 7 days to expiration, but this is an obligation to buy anything. This is just an obligation to sell what we have. So that expiration doesn't even matter. MicroStrategy. This one's important. It's 14 days out. So I start like looking at the notional, right? So I like, how do I look at the notional? So maybe there's something better that I could show you guys. Give me a second. Because I have my little spreadsheet over here. I don't know if it'll actually show up or not. I'm looking to see if it shows up over there. Bear with me. So I don't know if I'm showing the right shit half the time. That's why I got the TV in the background. Okay, super. It did show. Awesome. So this is the little spreadsheet that really helps me because this yellow right here, total collateral, right? Your notional value. So I look at, hold on, this is going to drive me crazy. Give me a second. This is going to drive me crazy. Where's this guy? There we go. Okay, super. So I look at expiration dates. So I'm like, so what is coming down the pipe? MicroStrategy, right? So that's $13 million notional, right? Because there's an agreement to buy what? 60,000 shares at $220. 13 million, that's on 11/14. So, a couple weeks from now. So then I just start going down, I started going down the pike, right? I'm like, okay, what else is coming up? So I look here and I'm sure if I get with Bill, he'll be like, he'll help me to like put it where I could just sort it by dates and all that stuff. But I don't know how to do all that shit. There's like these filters and sort and all that, but I don't want to screw up my little spreadsheet. So I'm afraid to try to add anything to it. But anyway, so I just started looking at these expiration dates. And then after that, another big one is on 12/19, or 12/5. That's the end phase one. So I'm like 600,000. Dang, I have to really look at that one. It's like, I could either just like decide to buy the $600,000 worth of end phase or not, but I already know that I'm going to try to roll these out to like 29, 28. That's when I'm going to like take the first lick at end phase, because if it's going down, well, then it's still a falling knife, right? Like it just had earnings a couple of days ago. So 3-day rule, kind of like see what the stock's doing. So that's the other one that I look at. And then after that, I start looking up and I see Amazon. That's the big one, right? That's the big one, because it's now 750 short puts at 230, $17 million of notional, the collateral. And then you got an agreement to sell 500 of those contracts at 260. So somewhere in between there, I'd have to figure out how to buy 500,000, 500, shitload, 500 contracts, of, I guess 50,000 shares of Amazon between 230 and 260. If I had to deliver those shares at 260, if I wanted to turn it into a covered strangle. So that's the stuff that I take into consideration when putting out new expiration dates. Like for instance, the hood one is for 116, because I was like, I'm going to bring in another $1.6 million in an obligation to buy a hood at a price that I don't even think is a good price, but the mojo's going up. So I'm like, whatever. So I put it out for January because I want to keep it on the books, because I love me some Robinhood. The actual stock is, the company is amazing. They're doing amazing things. The platform, I don't care too much for, because I feel like Tasty Trade is far superior for what I do for a living. But it was really good early on for me. Like it was really easy to play the buttons. It wasn't, push the buttons. It wasn't intimidating. It was like the Apple. It was the Apple for trading, and it was awesome. It's just not good for what I needed to do now, right? Not having portfolio margin, not having to do anything naked to utilize, more leverage, if you will. It just doesn't work for what I'm trying to accomplish. But all in all, for beginners that want to just buy, hold, and hope. So I'll put here, so I'll call there, buy leaps. I think it's absolutely adequate for that. So that's what I look at. I look at where's the big obligation going on with the portfolio, and I can't overload the donkey, if you will. I can't overload the donkey because I have to be able to potentially make good one day, right? You're going to get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. So you have to be able to make good. So that's why you see these expiration dates. That's why, you know, the MicroStrategy, the MSTR, it's at 14 days out, but eventually I'm going to either kick it out to like the 30-day cycle or something like that. Like, in other words, I may roll it twice, right? I may roll it one time and still be before the 49-day cycle, but then at some point they're going to get matched up. So that's probably going to hurt the capital requirement. So whenever you have a bunch of expiration dates on the same, if you have a bunch of options expiring on the same day and it's an agreement to buy shares, that cap requirement is going to go up because your broker is going to get nervous, right? Because it's going to be like, hey, how do you have $70 million or whatever it was, right? 72, $73 million in obligations to potentially buy stocks. Mind you, they're all out of the money, even in phases out of the money. But let's just say the shit tanked like 20, 30%. And a lot of this stuff, I'm talking about collectively the market, right? Like a big crash. And now all of a sudden everything's in the money. The brokerage is going to get skittish. It's not going to like that. It's not going to like that. That's why I separate the risk, if you will, by having different expiration dates, because if they all start going bad, it's not all coming to a head at once. I'll have time to like figure it out, close positions at a loss, roll out a year on a few of them so I don't have to fuck with them for a while. And the broker knows what's going on too, right? Because they're able to see what you're doing because they have an algorithm that tracks your every fucking move. So that's what kind of comes into play, if that makes sense. That's why you see 7 days, 14 days, 28 days, 35 days, 49, 77, 168, and 230 is because I'm spreading out that notional risk over longer periods of time. I hope that helps you guys out. Now, if you're only selling one position because you're not managing, millions of dollars, I understand that too. So what's the sweet spot in that case? 30 to 45 days out, manage 21 days to expiration. That's the sweet spot. Michael Anthony, I think we're still talking about the DJT thing. A 13G filing where the Fed bought millions of shares of DJT and just saw. It's all about conviction. If you are supremely convicted, then you can go heavy into a name. Your conviction must outweigh the risk. It's your due diligence. Yeah, there's so many factors, man. Anyone can see the 13G filing. Do you like wide credit spreads instead of cash secured puts? They require less. Man, they're a really good instrument for cash grabbing. They just never been a big part of my arsenal, and I don't know that they ever will be, to be honest with you. How do you get a hamburger stand? I think Nathan's just being a dick. Good morning. What's going on? Meta TJ, I think I already talked about that one. Michael Anthony. What's going on? Heinzie. Hello there. I'll be in Houston. We're meeting there. Oh, right on. Super. So then that is happening because I feel like she mentioned it, but I wasn't listening. Poor man covered call. I'm not sure. Appreciate you, Doubtful. Broad Capital. What's going on? G Money. Yo. What's good? Trader. Status quo. Meta calls. Worried about Palantir? No. It's for January. And again, it's a campaign, right? So I'm trying to be in these trades for 3 to 5 years, guys. So there's going to be a bunch of earnings. So this is a real good question. It's a real good question. So I want to take my time on this before we have the little roast party on next, because we're just having fun today, right? When you own shares for long periods of time, like I have, the very first stock I ever owned was Intuit, INTU. And I owned it for like over 10 years. you deal with a lot of earnings, right? Owning the shares. So unless you're just stop sign to stop sign, stop sign to stop sign, expiration date to expiration date, then it makes sense not to be driving through the earnings, if you will. But I just look at it like a campaign. Like I'm just selling puts and calls, rolling when it makes dollars and cents. And I'm going to do it for the next 3 years. And every quarter, I'm going to deal with earnings. It's just part of the game. But I would be dealing with that anyway had I owned the stock. I mean, what do all the people in Palantir do? They're going to sell all the shares right before earnings, and they're going to let it play out, and then they're going to go rebuild their position again. No, it's just retarded. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. So, yeah, I think that's something that's taught on a lot of platforms. I know that Tasty Trade teaches it as well, but I think it's because they look at everything from stop sign to stop sign. I'm looking 3 to 5 years in the distance, if that makes sense. And I've dealt with a bunch of earnings reports on SoFi, a lot of earnings reports with Palantir Hood. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, right? Like the last few earnings reports with Palantir have been great, but it was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that the earnings like really sucked, and we're supposed to get 30% CAGR, and that wasn't going to happen. And oh my God, and so it could go the other way too. You just deal with it. I don't know. I trade what's in front of me. That's the thing. I just trade what's in front of me. Just started my level 1 option. Wow, man. Good for you. Good for you. You said before, capitalizing an opportunity cost buying the leaps when selling cover calls. Poor man. Not necessarily. So poor man cover call. Good question, man. Good question. Let me clarify for you. A poor man cover calls whenever you buy a leap, and textbook is they typically buy them like 80 delta, something like that. Sometimes even 90 delta. So pretty deep in the money. Because you want to emulate owning the shares, but it's more cost effective than owning the shares. And then you're going to sell calls against those leaps. What I'm doing on BM&R is not a poor man covered call because I also own the shares. So I'm selling covered calls against the shares. Y'all, I hope y'all catch that distinction, right? Like I own the 40,000 shares and the 600 leaps, but there's only 400 covered calls. So those covered calls, I'm selling them against my shares. Now, I don't know exactly how it works. If I decided that I want to get the shares get called away, let's say BM&R, let's say BM&R pumps to 70. The 62s are in the money. I would assume, and I'll verify, I could call the trade desk on Tasty. I would assume that BM&R would pair those covered calls. I have some Vicks on my nose that look like boogers on the screen. I would assume that they would pair it against the shares. I don't see any rhyme or reason why they would pair it against the leaps. Now, if I sold 600 calls right now, which I could, it would just require a lot of capital. But if I wanted to do that, then that would be going against the leaps. And at that point, that would be a poor man cover call. But right now, BM&R is trading at like 47 or whatever, whenever I was on that side, right? When we were doing the portfolio update. And I have my leaps at 75. And let's say I sold cover calls at 60. You got to put up the collateral, the difference between the 75 and the 50. So it's going to ask you for those $15 in buying power, because it's kind of stupid to agree to buy shares at 75 and then have an agreement to sell them at 60, right? You can see how the logic there is not good. Like buy high and sell low. That's not a real good recipe to make money, if that makes sense. I hope that helps you. Rocket Labs 3 years ago was possibly the worst possible stock to start learning on, though. Yeah, G-Money acting like a fool. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's see if this shows up. I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to go this way. Let me know if you guys see X. I'm just looking at my TV to see if it auto-populates. Hopefully it does. There we go. Let's have a little fun on X. So this is what I see whenever I log on, right? So the other thing that I always look at is my notifications. So let's go through some of these notifications. So the first one I wanted to roast was Captain Crunch. So let's go to Captain Crunch over here. This dude doesn't show his face because he's got, you know, a face made for radio. And so again, let's put the helmet on because the blows are coming, right? So the blows come back. I got to make sure that it doesn't hurt so bad. So we got the helmet on for the roasting session, okay? I'll put the sun visor on. I'm not on the bike right now. So here we go. He did something. Look at this guy. Look how queer this is. This dude's always posting his little outfit. He's got a nice little jacket. Looks cute. Then he's got these boots. I wonder if they make them for men too. You know what I mean? He's got the skinny jeans, so he's obviously a pretty fit dude. And one thing I really like is this timepiece right here. That Omega Speedmaster. Kudos, man. That is to me is just as nice a timepiece as like a Rolex. But you don't have to get on the waiting list. You don't have to kiss anybody's ass. You don't have to suck anybody off and be like, "Oh, please, Mr. Authorized Dealer, can I give you $20,000 for a fucking for a watch that goes for $10,000?" So I think that Omega is just a much better value than Rolex because you don't have to play the game. And you can see there he's showing a little bit of his beard or whatever, but he doesn't show his face for privacy reasons. He makes jokes about potentially being like illegal, and people are going to want to deport him and stuff like that. This dude is like just like a professional troll. And the thing that really is impressive to me about it, I don't ever talk with the helmet on. It's kind of tough, so that's over. The reason that it's impressive to me is because everywhere I go, like, right, because I don't scroll that much as far as like the feed goes, this dude's always in the comments. Like he's always in the comments, and I'm like, where do y'all find the time? Like, where do y'all find the time to be in every comment? There's another dude, I think it's called like Selling Premium or something like that. The minute there's anything about Tesla, this dude's in the comments, and I'm like, how do y'all do that? Like, how do you do that? Is it like artificial intelligence that allows you to comment on every little thing? Or are you just that fucking bored and that's all that you do? You're like a professional commenter on X. It's crazy. But this is the one I wanted to talk to y'all about. This dude sold 36 cover calls on Hood for next Friday and picked up 12 cents, $430 in credit. Why would you even put your shares up for sale to get that kind of money? I think what Captain Crunch needs to do is let me take him over here. Let me take him over here to the YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube Studio. We're going to go to content. You're going to scroll to lives. We're going to do a filter. Let's see if it'll allow me to do a filter on views. So I just put like 4,000 views because it's going to filter for me. There we go. This is the one right here. This is the one. He needs to watch this. He desperately needs to watch this. So I'm going to get a shareable link, copy on the clipboard. We're going to go back over here. And we're going to go over here. And we're going to put the link on here. And I'm going to put on here. Hold on. Let me move the microphone. Stop being a dumbass and learn how to sell options. So there he goes. So we keep seeing these types of posts from Captain Crunch, who, mind you, has a pretty impressive portfolio. It's got like $900,000 and it's heavily weighted on Hood. So this dude knows how to buy a winner and he knows how to hold on to a winner. Really, really, really impressive. Selling options, he's not that good, though. He's not that good. But with that kind of portfolio, he could easily be bringing in like $10,000 a month in extra premiums. He just doesn't know how to do it. And then he's also gone really, really heavy in margin, like own shares on margin. So that also scares me for him a little bit. So anyway, that's the first one. So let's keep going. See if anything else. See if anything else stands out. So y'all can go like that, comment on there. That'll be awesome. And it's all in good fun. He calls me Unc. I call him nephew. It's hilarious. So this is what I put on there. You're the absolute crappiest option seller I've seen on X. Bro, stop being a troll and watch my seminar for fuck's sake. So there's that one. And 84 people have liked it. And then this is him. He's like Garcia. He's one of these GIF or GIFs, whatever they're called. He's like a GIF king. Like this dude always has it. Madi, she's been saying she needs to learn for 2 fucking years, hasn't taken any action. You can't force people to learn how to make money, right? I mean, all of my content's on YouTube. I'm extremely accessible. I'm probably the most accessible option. I'm probably the most accessible option seller on social media. I'm extremely generous with my time because I think that more valuable than money is giving somebody your time and your undivided attention. So that's the reason that I have the channel, is also to have a roadmap for my son Jeremiah. I want him to have a roadmap on what exactly it is that I do for a living, and to give him as much information as possible, because I feel that in my heart of hearts, one day he's going to wake up. He's not going to like his USAA job anymore. He'll have over $250,000 to work with, and he'll be like, I'm ready to man my hamburger stand. Like that is what I feel is going to happen with my son. So I want to give him all the tools because, I do ride the motorcycle. So I understand that there's a risk every time that I get on that freaking bike. I have chronic kidney disease. I don't know if that could like take a turn. So I deal with my mortality as a man. I'm 50 years old. So I'm like, hey, at some point I'm not going to be breathing. I've got a 25-year-old son. I feel like it's incumbent on me to set him up for success, and not just by just giving him whatever money I'm able to give him, because it'll be, a few $1 million. Pretty awesome. But it's about teaching him how to fish, and then so he can have those memories, if you will. So that's like the reason for the channel. It's not for anything else. It's not for me boasting and being like, look, and how to make a bunch of fucking money. You guys just happen to be the recipients of me having had a son and wanting for him to have an opportunity to get on that path, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's see if there's any other anything else that stands out. So here I've got BM&R versus MSTR, which can get you to $1 million year to date. The things that I look at on here is all the people that have the answers, right? Like all of the Warren Buffetts of the chat. So this is the way that I have this one set up, and it's a screenshot of both positions. There's the 40,000 shares owned, the calls, the calls on the short calls and the long calls on BM&R, and then the strangles. So now let's see what the comments are. So David Blanchard is a gentleman that corresponds on my feed quite a bit. Very, very polite gentleman. My money on Lee. Now water. This is like be like water, right? This is a gif of Bruce Lee where he talks about like you want to be like water. It's really, really awesome. MicroStrategy, it's more systematic and predictable when you fully understand the engineering behind it and its preferred stocks counterparts. I 100% agree with that. So I'm just going to put agreed. I believe, if I can learn how to type, let me get this microphones being a pain in the ass. I believe that it's just easier to make money on MicroStrategy. My stock strategy for the week, that's not me. This is TJ tjthewheeldeal. So I got to go over here. I got to hit hide reply, and I got to hit block. So this is the stuff that makes me kind of bearish on Tesla. because I feel like it's like the same people that do all this stuff, right? All the nerdy stuff, right? I feel like these people probably work for multiple Elon Musk companies, and they have such a big robot problem on X, but that's the robot that I trust to drive me around all the time, right? So it's just one of those things. Like, I just don't understand how a company with such smart people attached to it still has a robot problem in the year 2025. J Premium Seeker says MSTR has been a great disappointment, worst performing BTC stock on the market. Maybe one day. I'm not sure. I'm just playing the range game. So I'm not sure. I'm just playing the range game. I can make money here pretty easily, in my opinion. So there's that. So nothing too crazy here. Let's see if we can find some trolls, though. That way we can have some fun with this thing, guys. I'm so tired. I read that twice as live, not live, if that makes sense. I don't understand. Live in 4 minutes, public screen. I don't know. Maybe was I supposed to capitalize the live? I don't know. Maybe I'm too tired too because I don't understand it either. I guess we're both retards. Hallelujah, amen. These guys' GIF skins are like really, really strong. Is it pronounced GIF or GIF? Because I heard somebody say GIF and it got me all confused. So let's see if there's anything else. This is just people laughing at me roasting my nephew over here. And I'm just going to put on here, it's all love. Because I'm not being a dick to this guy. He's actually quite funny. It's all love at the end of the day. So there's that. Let's see if anybody else had anything. There's Sam Badawi, real smart guy, guys. Let's give this guy a follow. This is a fucking nerdy dude, bro. He's like a nerdy dude. He used to come on the channel. He went by Sam Solid early on. And he's just like, whenever he'd come on the channel, it was like, holy shit. It's like we have like this little like mini economist on the channel, like talking all these fucking metrics and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to sell puts and calls and make money. The motherfucker came on and it was like I had a guest on CNBC. All of a sudden I had to like sit up straight and shit and wear a tie or something. It's just like a real nerdy dude. Really smart guy. I believe he lives in California. We weren't able to link up. I meant to reach out to him when I was there. I just got so busy. So there's like a handful of people that I didn't get to reach out to while I was there. But that's definitely somebody that I would like to meet in person one day. Here we go. Selling options for profit. This is the guy that no matter what they say about Elon Musk or Tesla, this guy's like a real quick on the draw to let him know that, hey, y'all still have safety drivers and stuff. It is just absolutely hilarious to watch him. Used a hood pump to open up some naked calls at 2. Love it. Love it. That's a good play. Good for him. Easy money, in my opinion. Let's go. So what else do we got here? That's Mike D. So we did this one. the little gift for when I was roasting little nephew over here. And what's this word here, guys? Can anybody help me what this word is here? It says, depends how prescient Tom Lee is. Like, I think of God in like omniscient or omnipresent. So I'm gonna like Google this word here real quick. Prescient. Let's ask Grok. At Grok, what does prescient mean? Because I've never heard that word before. Now see precision, prescient. Maybe precise. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's got to be like a typo. So I'm just gonna put on here prescient with the question mark because I have no idea what the fuck he's trying to say. Precise? I don't know. I don't know. If y'all could help me out in the chat, that'd be great. I can't see y'all's comments right now, but I'll get to them when when I'm done with this little fun aspect. Strikes or ranges not shown. So what is he talking about here? I go sold strangles on a couple of old friends. So let's look at the screenshots. So he said strikes not shown. It says here 100 contracts, January the 16th, 78 days, 140 strike. So tell me you don't know how to read a screenshot without telling me you don't know how to read a screenshot. So there's that. What else do we got? Saw it myself after scrolling up. So what is this right here? Oh yeah, so I think this guy's just helping him out, letting him know. Is there anything else here? 4,000 shares. I don't know what this is. Oh, so I did a screenshot on the BM&R position, and this gentleman here is saying that he got to 1,000 shares. He's another DGen too, apparently. It's how many I have on my son's account. Premiums, even in the low 40s, easy money. Probably talking about BM&R. Oh, Chipotle. What do you think about Chipotle, guys? This is one that after that big drop, it kind of got my attention a little bit, but I feel like I don't have any room. I don't have any room in the portfolio for it. But I mean, surely it's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason that it keeps dropping. This is again where I'm just not familiar enough with it. I like Chipotle. I think it's a little bit overpriced, but I mean, I think it's good. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And these people are arguing. I don't know what they're arguing about. Oh, this guy says you're better off selling puts with size than going into a strangle. My 2 cents. And I just put to each their own. And then Kurama says, as TJ does, show your P&L to prove your strategy is better. Otherwise, it means nothing. My 2 cents. Guys, I don't know if y'all have figured this out about me or not, but I don't ever really have arguments with people about which strategy is better, because you could take an instance like a Palantir, a Hood, or a Meta, and it's going to be real easy to conclude that owning the shares and buying leaps is better than selling a bunch of puts and calls along the way and dealing with all that shit. Like, just if you just owned, because I had plenty of money right at the time available, I'd have just owned 10,000 shares of Palantir and did nothing, fucking crushing it, right? You're crushing it. Let's do the math, right? So 10,000 shares times 200. You have $2 million. You're done. You're done. You bought them at $10. My goodness, you're up $1.9 million. I've only made about $1.3 million on Palantir. So you can definitely argue that that's the better way. But I think that that's where you have to use like 3 to 5 years of history, because I could argue that even though people are doing well with SoFi right now, they're never going to catch me, because I made a bunch of put and call premium along the way, and I flipped several leaps as well. So how are you going to go get all of that money? So to me, I feel like the opportunity cost goes both ways. If you don't learn how to sell calls against your shares and run an effective strategy with your shares, it feels really, really good to have a bunch of paper gains. But I feel like you also have to understand that realized gains is real. Paper gains are not real yet until you're willing to sell. So then what happens? You wake up and the shit goes down 25%. What are you going to do? It's like, again, that's where it's just like reading the Bible and you take like one little thing out of the Bible and you try to like create a whole doctrine on that, on that one little verse. I think that's dangerous. You got to understand like the entire context of it, if that makes sense. That's why I don't like to debate that stuff. That's why I think that Mr. Premium of the option, just to double down on what he said, is we're all the CEOs of our portfolios. And the one thing that I know is that I'm very, very clear on my hamburger stand. It's I want a portfolio that goes up in value over time, but that provides a lot of cash flow, like to the tune of about 30% a year in premiums. So on $10 million, I need to generate $3 million in premiums as if my life depended on it. Why? Because in about 3 years, if I'm compounding that premium, I double the portfolio without owning any shares. So that's what I look at. I got $10 million. Can I go fetch $3 million in premiums this year? Yes or no? The answer is pretty easy. So I do that 3 times over. Boom. I double my 10 million because I don't have a favorite ticker. I love fucking Wright. I think Jason Les is a fucking badass poker player and he's a much better CEO than people give him credit for. But my favorite ticker is my portfolio. That's my favorite ticker. I love me some Wright. It's in like the top 5 for me, right? Tesla's number 1. Everybody knows that. It's not in the portfolio right now. It's going to be. Got to make room, right? Got to make room. But then after that, it's SoFi. SoFi is my second favorite stock in the entire market because I just think Anthony Noto is that fucking dude. I just think he's that fucking dude. The dude is just absolutely legit. I think that, you have the M's in the market, right? The market, the management, the money, the moat. And I just think that the management along with the money is like the most important thing because they can thrive in various markets and then they'll obviously create the moat if they're the right management. So to me, it was just important. But anyway, that's the thing. It's like, I just look at it, I got $10 million. I'll go get $3 million for 3 years. I double my portfolio every 3 years. So it's systematic. It's repeatable. It's consistent. I go hold Palantir, even our beloved Palantir. Granted, it did a 10x, fucking amazing, right? But from these levels here, like, does it make sense to hold Palantir and to go from 200 to 400? How long is that going to take? So that's why I just look at everything. The life's a game of doubles. I hearken back to what Patrick Bet-David said. Life's a game of doubles. You have $1,000. One double, you go to 2,000. 2 double, another double, you're at 4,000. Another double, you're at 8,000. Another double, you're at 16,000. Another double, you're at 32. Another double, you're at 64. Another double, you're at 120, whatever the fuck the math is, 128. Another double, you're at 250. Another double, you're at 500. On your 11th double, you're a fucking millionaire. Life's a game of doubles. I heard that about 6-7 years ago. I heard Patrick Bet-David say that. Life's a game of doubles. You go from 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000 to 8,000 to 16,000 to 32,000 to 64,000 to 128 to whatever the fuck it is, 256, 5 whatever, right? 512, and then boom, you're a millionaire on the next double. So 11 fucking doubles away from being a millionaire. Every one of you fucks should be able to scrounge up $1,000. And then now what's after that? You got to go get your double. And then now you got to go get your double after that. And then now you got to go get your double after that. If you're already sitting on 100,000, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 48, boom, 5 doubles and you're a millionaire. What the fuck's your excuse? Go find your Palantir. Go find your Hood. Go find your SoFi. And if you can't do that, well, learn how to manufacture the win, because I'm already telling you, you can double your portfolio every 3 years, 3 to 4 years, just selling premium. You don't even have to go pick a winning stock. Just don't get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. So that's why I say play the range game. So whenever I just did the math one day, and then I really, really understood the range game, because I've been studying this range game for about 3 years now. Okay, you know, and the Bill White. So the world will tell you, they will tell you that it's not that capital efficient to own shares if you know how to do it right. Yeah, I definitely got to learn how to do that, Mr. Premium. I saw a tutorial on how to do it. It's just a little bit of a process, but Uncle Bruce does that, and I think that Jesse Dow does it also. It's a really good idea. Appreciate you. So anyway, there's that. Let me see if I can find anything else here. Here we go. TJ Prescient, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Means foresighted, prophetic, psychic, clairvoyant. Got it. How do you establish your room available? Are we talking about capital? It's just really just on the buying power. Like I was very uneasy with my buying power. It was like creeping up over 70%, the buying power usage. Whenever I was playing this SoFi trade to the very end. And I was like, man, I just can't do that. It's just irresponsible. It's just fucking dumb. You know, the channel's a little bit bigger now. I don't want to promote that kind of reckless behavior. So I had a thesis and I stood behind it with SoFi, guys, but that is not the type of behavior that I want to promote on this channel. Selling 30 to 45 days out, managing your business 21 days to expiration. That is a systematic, consistent, and a repeatable way to make money hand over fist. Sometimes there's an opportunity to go grab the bag, and you're going to feel that conviction, and you're going to take a calculated gamble. And that is exactly what I chose to do on SoFi, and it worked out. I'm kind of doing the same thing with MicroStrategy right now, right? Because I'm like 14 days to expiration right now on quite a bit of contracts. But I'm not likely to stay in that MicroStrategy till the week of expiration. Sometime next week, I'm going to roll it out, put another 30 days on there or something like that, and just go get the easier money. The first 50% is easier to get than the second 50%. So you don't have to deal with so much gamma and the VAMA and all of the other factors, all these forces that are going against you. I think we're talking about Chipotle here. Overpriced food, drop in quality, drop in value, food not what it was. Competition in that industry is so fierce, you know, just those two little things make me think maybe I don't even need to mess around with Chipotle, because it's evidently an industry that I don't really understand. It just takes a lot of energy, right? It takes a lot of energy to go learn about another stock if you're really going to learn about another stock. And I just don't feel like doing it. Brought capital, lowered guidance, middle to low income, pulling back on restaurant visit snapshot from what I took from the CMG earnings transcript. Appreciate that. Not the year for food or restaurant brands. Right on. Speaking facts. Taking these realized gains and putting them in other stocks and letting those positions grow and then selling more calls has done so well for me. Learned a lot from watching TJ and Amit. Right on, Colin. I'm glad you got value. This is such invaluable content. Nearly 2,000 viewers. Thanks. How long did it take you to get to the $10 million level? I mean, it just recently happened for us, right? So I'm 50, so 49 years. Tell people, man, it took me 45 years to become an overnight success. That's when I hit the $1 million mark. I was around 45 years old. Still moving to Cali. That is the plan. I do have an announcement, guys, that we can get serious for a second. This is just us girls talking. Don't tell my wife. We're doing an IVF, and we're utilizing surrogacy. We got 8 eggs. From 8, I think 7 were able to go to the fertilization thing. I guess when they do the sperm and whatever, however it works, the sperm and the egg meet somehow, and you try to make an embryo. And we ended up with 3 embryos, and then those got sent to genetic testing. One of them didn't make the cut. There was an issue with the 20th chromosome. I guess it was 3 instead of 2. So that one didn't make the cut. You know, it's not going to see the light of day, if you will. And we have a boy and we have a girl. So we have good fare versus fair fare. The boy is good fare and the girl is fair fare. And my wife said we're going to start with the boy. We're going to try with the boy, and if that takes, we'll do the girl. And if the boy doesn't take, then obviously we're gonna try for the girl. And in a perfect world, we're gonna have the pair. That's the goal. We would love to have the male be older than the female. That way, we got the big brother protection going on there and stuff. So anyway, if you guys could pray for us, because my wife's like really stoked about this. I was like totally indifferent. My son's 25 years old. I already feel like I got my get out of jail free card, but my wife's never gone down this journey and she really wants it. So, you know, whenever you're married, your wife's the most important person to you, or your husband's the most important person to you, or they should be. So you try to do everything you can to help give them the life that they envision. So anyway, that's where we're at. This is such. Appreciate you. Still moving to Cali. So if we have the kiddo, I don't think that we're going to go to California for probably the next 3 years or so, because I have a real hard time believing that my wife's going to want to take the kid away from her grandparents and my dad and family, the cousins, the whole. That's just what I think. We'll see. My wife's a woman. She changes her mind 10 times a day. So we'll see. Under 100. The concept is right, but you're not taking into account the short term. That's fact. Those are all facts. Really, really good feedback there. So, and I mentioned it on my last Wheelers, is I found a way to basically feel like I still own 100,000 shares of SoFi, because I can make $1 million a quarter, because I think it's going to go up $10 a quarter, right, for the next couple of quarters. But then after that, I'm going to have to do it like one more quarter, so then I can offset the taxes. But then after that, the people just owning shares and not doing anything, they're always going to be facing that decision as, do I sell or do I not sell? And I still got a quarter. I got $1 million a quarter that I'm printing with SoFi. So again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Short term owning shares and leaps, and it does a moonshot. Obviously, that's going to outperform. But over the long haul, if you don't learn how to fish and you know how to generate a bunch of premiums and cash flow, the things when you buy a bunch of shares and you own a bunch of shares, it's great, but you're not generating cash flow. So then there's a dip and you don't have dip money. The reason that I really love selling premium is because I'm always assured that I'm going to have dip money, because they're like artificial injections of cash every time you sell premium. So yeah, again, it's just, we're all the CEOs of our portfolios, and we all have to ultimately do what makes dollars and cents for us and for our families. And really, to this topic, at some point, I'd love to know what the rest of the rules behind you are. Right on. So let's do it, right? Let's do it. So hard work beats talent every time. Work until your bank account looks like a phone number. 97% of the people who quit too soon are employed by the 3% who never gave up. You can watch me, mock me, try to blog me, but you cannot stop me. I've been a rich man and I've been a poor man, and I choose rich every time. That's my favorite, because I have been a poor man. Now I'm kind of rich, I feel. And I definitely like this life a lot better because I've been able to keep my feet on the ground. So I think, like, you're an asshole, you're just going to be a bigger asshole with money. If you're generous, you're just going to be more generous with money. I think that money just makes you more of who you already were going in. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich. If they say it's impossible, remember that it's impossible for them, not for you. And I will succeed, and nothing in this world is going to stop me. It's from the Wolf of Wall Street. The 8 rules of from the Wolf of Wall Street is what it says up there. I saw it whenever I was scrolling for things for my office, and that one just really, really caught my eye about 3 or 4 years ago. TJ, great brother. Appreciate you. Kick me in the ass. I ain't trying to kick anybody's ass right now. Yo, TJ, you might already know this. Okay, yeah, we did this one already. So you can invest in any of those on the list, on that list above. I don't know. I don't know the context of that particular. Right on, Premium. Appreciate you, brother. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Mr. Premium. Hey, by the way, did you move to San Antonio? Because we're going to be going up there soon, man. I'd love to take you out for dinner. Maybe we go to the Riverwalk. Yep, experienced option sellers should 2x their portfolio every 3 years. This is a man who's doing it, man. He's living it. This is what he does. He's retired Air Force, so everybody thank him for his service, and he sells options now, right? And I think he's also got a portfolio, real estate portfolio going as well. But this dude has a lot of experience in the game. There's one video you'll give to your son to learn options in the seminar. This is my seminar. And shout out to Uncle Henry, little nephew Henry, Invest with Henry. He did a beginners only seminar. It was about 6 hours long. I watched about an hour of it on the plane. And it's a good video compared to mine because I'm just talking. I got my little PowerPoint. This dude knows how to make videos. I don't know if he uses like Adobe or some shit. Like he's real talented and knowing how to make videos. He's really, really good at explaining it. Dr. Jim Schultz has an options crash course as well. So I would point him in that direction as well. But if it's just like one place where you can get like all the basics, I would refer my son to my seminar, the one that I posted there on X. On Captain Crunch, or Invest with Henry's is really, really good as well. So shout out to Invest with Henry. People think that him and I have a rivalry. I don't know Henry. He tried to buy into my channel a couple of years ago. I wasn't interested because he was like asking me to do and promote things that really isn't what I do. I sell puts and calls, and if I can't grow the channel doing what I do, I don't want to like teach something, preach and teach something that I don't actually do, if that makes sense, just for views. TJ, what do you do if not enough shares because of diversification to do the wheel strategy? What do you mean? Like if you don't have at least 100 shares? I have a hard, fast rule on that. I call them incomplete shares. If you can't get to 100 shares, then I sell the stock altogether. Or you can consider the poor man cover call if you're more experienced. You could buy a leap because you might not be able to afford 100 shares, but you might be able to afford a leap, and then you can sell covered calls against those leaps. Again, it takes a lot more know-how, more management, but it is more capital efficient. And a lot of professional wheelers run the poor man cover call strategy versus the traditional cover call strategy on, especially on non-dividend stocks, because of its capital efficiency. Cracker Barrel is a buy. I don't know that it's a buy, but I love eating their turkey dinners there on Thursdays. My gosh, I do it 4 or 5 times a year. I just absolutely can't get enough of it. I'm an IVF baby. Good luck on your journey. Appreciate that. Wow, that's awesome. Alex, that's our thumbnail guy. This is my everything on the channel, right? Little Alex. He's just absolutely helped me get some decent thumbnails and some stuff going on. There was another gentleman that helped me with thumbnails over on. His name escapes me. Just an absolute sweetheart of a dude, man. Just a real nice guy. So I appreciate both of those guys that have helped me get some thumbnails. I didn't like I had a picture of like my Jaguar. Those were the original thumbnails, and like focusing on the wheels because it was like the wheel deal, right? I'm not that creative. The restaurant business has such low margins. The only reason the IPOs make money is debt and expansion. Appreciate you guys. Good luck, guys. We'll appreciate you. Good luck. Me and my wife got too old. Appreciate you. Hoping the best. Thank you. Are you ever worried about how much taxes that you pay each year? I don't worry about it, but I am definitely annoyed by it. I fantasize about living in Puerto Rico for 6 months a year. And it's something that I bring up more and more to my wife, but she's not biting. She's not biting. TJ, been following for a long time. You're a good man. Appreciate you. Also, congrats on getting married. Happy for you, IVF journey. My brother is 40 years old, never married, never have kids. He asked how you met your wife. I was a I was a third wheel, actually. She was going out to dinner with my buddy Adrian. I was in transition. I was going to move to New York in 2020, 2021. And I was bunking on his couch. I was bunking on his couch, waiting for the role to open up in New York. It was essentially a trade desk. They were going to fund me, and I was going to sell options for them, and I was going to get a commission plus salary, 10% of all the profit I made, plus a nice little salary, right at six figures. It was about $7,500 a month. So that was going to be enough to, have a little mediocre apartment in New York and stuff. And I was going to have $1 million bankroll to work with to start. So, I figured I can make another, $2,000 or $3,000 a month doing that in commissions. So I was like, making six figures, a solid six figures. It's not a lot in New York, but eventually I'll grow their bankroll and mine as well, and I'll be off and running. So I tagged along for dinner, and she was, I'd already met her one time at their family restaurant, but the time that I actually got to speak with her was at that first dinner, and as they say, the rest is history. Right on. Super, man. Well, if you're interested, man, I'd love to link up with you guys. Can someone send the link of the seminar he's referencing? It's on, if you just rewind the stream 30, 45 minutes, you're going to see where I copied and pasted on X, on Captain Crunch. It's on Captain Crunch. If so, where brought capital? I'm not thinking right away. Learn from your earlier videos. The best. Also invest in her. Nice. What's your average on BM&R? 56, I think. It's not real good. Can you explain time decay on 2 times leverage ETFs like AM, BM&U? And AMZZ. I'm not exactly familiar with how those instruments work. I'm very familiar with TSLL. So you have, I think they call it like volatility drag. You have, like, they don't mirror exactly what the stock's going to do. You have NAV erosion. Like, these are all things that kind of like work against you whenever you have leveraged ETFs on a stock like TSLL versus Tesla. So if Tesla stays flat, TSL is going to go down. But if Tesla gaps down, TSL is going to gap down a lot harder, right? Like twice as much. But if TSL shoots up, well, then TSL is going to shoot up twice as fast as well. So there's a lot of gimmies and gotchas there. The reason that TSL was very compelling when it was in that $6, $7, $8 range is because Tesla was over 200. So you're able to have, exposure to a ticker that you're really excited about for a fraction of the cost. So I just felt like it was the poor man's way of playing Tesla. And I've made more money with TSOL than I have Tesla, which is, kind of crazy to think about. What's going on, Andres? I moved to the Philippines in January, but easy if you're single. Love Puerto Rico. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Alex. Anyway, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling, man. I'm hungry. I'm in my pajamas, but they're all covered. But anyway, just want you to see. I lost quite a bit of weight. I've lost 30 pounds this year so far. And I'm going for another 20. It's crunch time. I know holiday season and stuff, but I'm trying to get down another 15 to 20 pounds by the end of the year. I just got to take my health seriously. I've been working out, eating right, drinking water. It's tough. It's tough because junk food is everywhere. It's extremely accessible. So it's tough. But anyway, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling. I got to just kind of look over the portfolios real quick, and I'm gonna call life good on a Friday. Maybe go hit up the golf course. Talk to you guys later. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, may your sky stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.